And now call this meeting of the Benton County Board of Education to order. Mr. Robert Livingston is going to lead us in prayer, and if you'll stand. After that, we will do the pledge of allegiance.
You join in prayer. Our Father in the country, once again, we just thank you for all the blessings of today, Father, for the much care and protection you gave to us. Father, we just ask that if there's one here tonight, Father, that has a special need, Father, you just meet that need. Father, we do ask that you would continue to watch over our school system. Father, and as we approach graduation, Father, we just ask that you would especially be with the children, kids that are graduating, especially, and watch over, protect them. Father, may everything we do here tonight honor and please you, and help us as we make decisions. These things I ask in your name. Amen. Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Joy, please call the roll.
Mr. Douglas. Ms. Douglas, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here.
Mr. Marks.
Present.
Mr. Peach.
Here.
Mr. Thornton.
Here.
Mr. Hargis. Mr. Livingston.
Here.
Mr. Winters.
Here.
Mr. Hyatt.
Here.
Ms. Kinnon.
Here.
Ms. Arnold. Here. Mr. Hedge. Mr. Mills.
Here.
10 present, 2 absent.
We have a quorum with 10 present and 2 absent. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Remember that when we approve the agenda, we are approving the consent agenda as well, which includes approval of the paper minutes, approving substitutes pending background checks, approval of May 9th as Teacher Appreciation Day, which is a U-Trust holiday, approval of Dale Mann as a non-staff CJH football coach, approving Briley Simpson, Tim Staggs, and Adrian Baker as bus drivers pending meeting state requirements.
Make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Is there any discussion on this? If no discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. We will approve tonight's agenda in addition to the consent agenda. Next on our agenda is approval of the spring planning report. And I will go ahead and read that. The Benton County Board of Education held their annual spring planning meeting on Thursday, April 5th of 2024 at the VO East Support Conference Room. Present was Chair Shauna Kinnon, Betty Jo Douglas, Mark Hargis, Robert Livingston, Marco Winters, Tim Hyatt, Judy Arnold, Brad Mills, Keith Peach, Ben Marks, and Director of Schools, Mark Lawrence. The agenda included the following: TSBA, legal issues impacting school boards, parliamentary procedure, Shauna Kinnon, Director of Schools Evaluation and Contract. A recommendation was made to offer the Director of Schools, Mr. Florence, a 4-year contract beginning July 1. All agreed to present the recommendation to the board at the June 3rd, 24 Board of Education meeting. The 25-26 district calendar. A recommendation was made to present the 25-26 calendar for approval at the May 6th meeting. All approved. The 24-25 schools GP budget. A recommendation was made to present the proposed 24-25 schools GP budget for approval at the May 6th, 24 meeting. All approved. There was discussion of the future of Big Sandy High School. The ESSER budget resolutions that we looked at. A recommendation was made to approve ESSER budget resolutions so they could be submitted to the TDOE for approval. And the resolutions will be presented at the May 6th meeting for final approval. All approved. Briarwood roof bids. A recommendation was made to accept Genesis Roofing's bid. All approved. Insurance bids. A recommendation was made to accept the Tennessee Risk Management bid. All approved. Discussion of policy 3.206, which is community use of school facilities. And then the meeting adjourned.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion over this? If there is no discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the spring planning report, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it, have approved the spring planning report. Next on our agenda is the approval of the 24-25 GP schools budget. I believe we all have an up-to-date one. It's the big packet that has May the 6th of 24 on it. We need a motion and a second before we can talk about it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Mr. Florence, do you need to?
The only thing I would say that it does include a $2,500 raise for certified staff. And it includes a $2,000 raise for all, support staff. And that's not including benefits, is close to the $1 million range. And then, there's some, as we talked, years past, you didn't have to budget a lot for supplies and materials. It was kind of just a carryover, but you've been to the grocery store or anywhere, prices are going up, so we are having to adjust a little there. We're using $2 million out of fund balance to balance the budget. We discussed that, and I discussed that with the budget committee last week. The budget committee plans on, their hope is to have a budget for the county this month. So there's a meeting with all department heads on May 15th. And so I would encourage you to pass this budget. As I told the budget committee, we can sustain this year, but obviously with Esther going away and things, I see maybe a few tough budget years on the horizon, but maybe not. Our staff's done a great job of managing, and so that gives us, we're in a spot where we can utilize some of this fund balance to keep some of the things that we had with Esther, but obviously we can't continue that in the future without additional money. So it does include a little over $900,000 in additional TISA funds. So I'll be glad to answer your questions. And a special thank you to our staff and Ms. Fowler for the work they put on that. A lot goes into a $27 million budget.
Any questions? Any further discussion? We will have a roll call vote on this motion. So we're voting on the 24-25 GP schools budget as it is in this packet. Ms. Joy, will you please call roll?
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Peach?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
10 yeses. Would anybody like to change their vote? Motion carries.
Thank you. The motion has passed to approve the 24-25 GP schools budget. Next on our agenda is the approval of the 24-25 food services budget. This was part of your extra packet. It is a spreadsheet with a yellow column. We need a motion to approve and a second before we can discuss this one as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yes. Benton.
Motion to approve and, a motion and a second to approve this food services budget. Do we have any discussion?
As far as food service, there's a little increase in food, obviously, and then the $2,000 raise for all employees, and that's the only changes. I will just, on behalf of our students, thank you for approving the community eligibility program. It has been a huge success, and we can say that we're making money, so there's no reason we can't continue to feed our students for free, and it has to be a huge impact for our community. So I see a couple parents out there that at least saving a few dollars a month, so that's a good thing. So thank you for that. But that's all I have unless you have questions.
Anybody have any questions, discussion? If not, we will get a roll call vote on this one as well. We are voting to approve the 24-25 food services budget. Ms. Joy, will you please call roll?
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mr. Thornton,
Yes.
Mr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Winters, Mr. Hyatt,
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon,
Yes.
Ms. Arnold. Yes. Mr. Mills.
Yes.
10 yes. Would anybody like to change their vote? Motion carries.
Thank you. With the approval of the food services budget, we will move to the next item on our agenda, which are the huge packet of budget resolutions. So you had some in your memo that went out. You have new ones or some additional ones.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion and second to approve all of these budget resolutions. Mr. Florence, do you have explanations for us?
First of all, I apologize, but this time of year, the fiscal year is ending, so budget resolutions come in bunches. So I put in your packet on the email what we had, and there's probably been 12 or 13 added since. There's no new money, it's all just transferring, finish out the year, or I think there's some additional family leave money. That's where I think I explained it, spring planning, where we've had teachers on leave. Now the state reimburses us for that. There is one resolution in there that the county commission approves every May, giving the Board of Education the authority to manage the federal budget, which is a huge help, and our county commission's been doing that. So that's the explanation of that one. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, but it's all just either ESSER that we talked about at spring planning, or just finishing up the fiscal year. I can assure you that Marilyn and Michelle Holtz, we have done in June, but I would say we would probably have a few, but most of them are in this package here. So I would encourage you, if you want to take a minute to, for those that you hadn't seen, if you have a question, I'll be glad to answer that.
I got this one.
Okay?
This, resolution for the summer camps, that included in that too also?
Yes, the summer,
Go ahead.
yeah, the summer camp is those allocations that come in for summer camp. That was actually, I heard them hooting and hollering from my office this morning because the state approved that, but that's all those funds that are sent to us, and we just need approval for that, put that into our budget. Thank you, Ms. Lori and the team, for summer camps, just like having school again, folks. So,
Any other questions? Any further discussion? If not, we will get a roll call vote on this one as well. Ms. Joy, will you call the roll? And we are voting to approve this packet of budget resolutions.
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
yes.
Mr. Thornton,
Yes.
Mr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Winters,
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt,
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon,
Yes.
Ms. Arnold. Yes. Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Would anybody like to change their vote? 10 yeses.
The motion to approve the budget resolutions passes. We now need to approve the Briarwood roof bid. We can get a motion and a second on
Make
that.
a motion to approve the roof bid.
We have a second.
Dennis approved the bid. Second, Dennis.
Motion and second to approve the Briarwood roof bid. Any discussion?
I put the sheet in that shows you Genesis for the TPO roof system, the sheet metal and the glass and glazing, it's all broke down. The roofing is $1,022,000. The sheet metal and trims, $220,000, and then the glass and glazing is $132,000. Also put a letter from Lashley Ridge I tried to explain that in the memo, that that's the absolute maximum. Obviously, when you start tearing a roof off a school, there could be something that was not in the bid, so, but that is, if you'll see that 1,580,394, that is the absolute max. If you go back to when we put the roof on Big Sandy in high school, we were refunded a little less than 100,000, so we hope that happens again, but that is what that absolute max is. Also, funding, we discussed at spring planning what I would do, and I have that in my director's report. That's the point on having a building and a budget joint meeting sometime after graduation to discuss our options. I put the loan, you can see if you, the 5-year, I think it's I'm not looking like 5.15, in 7 years, just a little more, and 10 years and 15 is a little more. I also think we can have discussions about paying for it out of fund balance, but I just think that's something we need to do in a committee. But lastly, Rich does need your approval so we can go ahead and start the project. They feel like they might be able to get it done before school starts, but they also assure us that if it doesn't, that we can have school and put a roof on. Sounds like fun, Mr. White, but they do it all the time. They'll come in and work after school. So let's hope that doesn't happen, but we all know that it'll probably start about August 1st. I mean, that's just the way things usually work, but anyway. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. Lastly, Rich was very confident of Genesis. They recommended them. It will have a 20-year warranty. So we really wanted to look at the PVC, but the engineers told us that the TPO is high quality now too, and with the same warranty, they didn't think it was worth that extra expense.
Any further questions? Discussion? If not, we will have a roll call vote for this one as well. Remember, we are approving the Briarwood roof bid. Ms. Joy, will you please call roll?
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Beach?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Would anybody like to change their vote? 10 yeses.
The motion to approve the Briarwood roof bid passes. Next on our agenda is the 25-26 district school calendar.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and second to approve the 25-26 district calendar. Mr. Lawrence, do you want to explain or tell us what has changed?
Now, remember, this is 25-26. So we try to do this at least a year before the school year. The only big changes, we do have Fair Day scheduled, August 8th as a staff development day. But we will, if we have teachers involved with the fair, we'll make sure that they're able to attend. So we discussed that, but we just thought that would be a way to save a day in the calendar. And the rest of it's pretty well, like we've been doing for years. We'll start on August 6th is the first day of school, which is a Wednesday. And then the Labor Day break, fall break is the 6th through the 10th. And all the rest of the holidays, we have another PD day worked in. And we will have Dr. Shannon, if this is approved, he will put it on the website first thing in the morning, or at least by Wednesday.
Any further discussion or questions? With no further debate, we will vote. All those in favor of approving the 25-26 district school calendar, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. We have approved the 25-26 district school calendar. Next on our agenda is the approval of property, equipment, and workers' comp insurance bid. It should be a one sheet in your packet.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the property, equipment, and workers' comp bids. We talked about this at spring cleaning. Is there any discussion or are there any questions about this one?
Chair Keelan, the risk management is what we've had insurance with forever. It also includes student insurance, which is a huge, accident reports. That happens quite often. We did discuss the bid. Public risk insurance was about 15,000 cheaper on workers' comp, but we checked around with other districts, and I don't think the buying would make a lot of sense. And we've had a lot of luck with risk management over the years. Public risk, the directors that I talked to, that they have their insurance do a fabulous job too, but we would just recommend that we stay with risk management and accept that lower bid. I will tell you, if you remember, 4 or 5 years ago when we did insurance, we saved about $80,000. Just to tell you where insurance is headed, our insurance along with workers' comp went up over 40,000, even though we bid. And it's almost, ever since I've been director in 11 years, if you bid your insurance, you usually save a minimum of 50,000. But you can see the difference in the bids, and it still went up 40,000 from what we paid last year. So it's definitely on the rise.
This is a one-year bid with no assurance of continued pricing, correct?
They 3% increase would be all they would do. So, they've been really consistent about that. But that's a great question, Mr. Marks, because I really think we're gonna have to sit down with the insurance and look at the values of the property. Because, we built the high school in the Big Sandy addition in 1997 at $69 a square, and they tell you today to estimate $350 a square. So obviously, we are underinsured if we had a building destroyed. So that is something that we are talking about, and they're supposed to come in and do some adjustments slowly. But that's a good question. We're going to have to look at increasing that because everything's going up.
Further discussion or further questions? If not, we will have a roll call vote for this approval as well. Remember, we are approving the property, equipment, and workers' comp insurance bid. Ms. Joy, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Peach,
Yes.
Mr. Thornton,
Yes.
Mr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Winters,
Yes.
Mr. Hyatt,
Yes.
Ms. Kinnon,
Yes.
Ms. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Mills.
Yes.
Would anybody like to change their vote? 10 yeses. Motion.
A motion to approve the property, equipment, and workers' comp insurance bid has passed. Next on our agenda is the director.
Thank you. I probably don't need this. First of all, I don't have it on my list, but thank you, Miss Joey. Miss Joey, come in, pinch in for Miss Michelle, never done this before, and as usual, flawless, and she has to put up with Corey too, so we didn't expect anything, but thank you, Miss Joy, for rushing back from the tennis region to take care of minutes tonight, we appreciate that. First thing I have, congratulations to Miss Betty Jo for being recognized at the Academics Awards banquet last week. If you know her, you love her. If there's ever a true educator in this district, you're looking at her. So Miss Betty Jo, we're proud of you, and that was a great night to see our kids being recognized, so Mr. McDowell, you and your staff, but congratulations, Miss Betty Jo, and we look forward to working with you many more years, so congratulations. Congratulations, I'm trying not to leave you out, our tennis team advanced to regionals further along today, baseball team made it to the region, softball starts tonight, track and field is advancing, we're hoping to have some in the state. We also, the CHS band, I heard a lot of compliments from the fish fry, and we hadn't had an opportunity to see. We're really fortunate to have two young, energetic teachers that are really working hard to build our band program, which I know is important to our community, so we're proud of them. Another thing, Chairman, Chair Lady Cannon, I'm getting used to that. The CHS has asked if they could create a theater club. I'm thinking we probably had that in the past, but our policy does say if we create a club that the board approve it. I have talked to the administration, they do not have an issue with that. But, I think we had one in the past, but I think it would probably be a good idea just for a voice vote, just to approve that theater club, and then we'll let the high school administration manage that.
Sure, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of allowing the high school to form a theater club, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ayes have it. The motion to approve the theater club has passed.
Thank you. Next, first of all, I want to congratulate CHS, Big Sandy, and Holiday. They had a really special week with some recognition, but instead of me doing the talking, I thought it would be important to let the principals do that. So I'm going to let Miss Amy start, and then we'll go in order.
Okay, so we had a third grade student, Remy Kauskas. He received, one of the 10 under 10 awards this year. The Governor's Early Literacy Foundation started this, I believe, last year, and they choose 10 third graders across the state, who are nominated by their teachers. And so the teacher writes a nomination, and there's certain criteria that they have to list in their nomination, and then those go to the state, and they have a private board that reads all the nominations, and then they choose 10 third graders throughout the state who receive a scholarship. So Remy received $1,500 scholarship from the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation. That's put in a fund for him, and hopefully that will draw some more funds. And so when Remy's able to finish high school, then he can use that toward furthering his education. The things they look for a success story, maybe a child who has moved around some, or maybe a child who started out and reading was hard for them, and they have shown gains. So Miss Angie had to give them data that showed Remy's improvements throughout the years. Remy, I believe, started with Holiday in kindergarten, and then he left, and then came back last year. So he was in second grade there, and now he's in third grade. A little side note is that Holiday had a student last year who also received the 10 under 10 award. And we went to Nashville, Miss Angie and I did, to help honor Remy because they got to go to an awards banquet that was put on. The governor was there. Big deal. But the folks afterwards were talking with us, and they talked about how it spoke so highly of Miss Angie Hearn for her to have two students 2 years in a row to receive that award, because 10 of them in the whole state got that award. So it speaks very highly of Miss Angie. Remy is a very deserving young man, and I hope that will help him to always set his sights high. Something they've added this year that they didn't do last year, I believe, is they're setting Remy up with a mentor. And so I think the mentor will check in on him from time to time to kind of see how he's doing and see what his interests are. One thing Remy talked about was wanting to be an animator. It just so happened at the banquet that we were at in Nashville, there was an animator there. And I couldn't tell you his name because he didn't talk to me, he talked to Remy. And he talked to Remy at length for quite some time. So, it's one of those things that it could really be a game changer for kids. So I'm very proud of him and very proud of Miss Angie. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Amy. We'll make sure Remy's recognized at the board in months ahead. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Mr. Carruthers, you want to tell the board about your grant at Big Sandy School?
All right, so, last year, Ms. Rouse and Ms. Heather Barrett applied for, a Casey's Foundation grant, for her local, we have a Casey's store here. I think there's one in Paris or Huntington, and, I don't know where the others are at, but anyway, there is a foundation, it's called Cash for the Classroom, and, Casey's does a lot of supporting schools. They have a focus on K-12 schools. The grant can be used for physical improvements, material needs, teacher support, community engagement. And so with the improvement that our playground has had, the outdoor classroom, and that our school board provided, that was a real boost for our playground. So Miss Heather and Miss Marcy got together and said, hey, you know, we do realize that there could be some other improvements made. And so our playground is used a lot by our community. The outdoor classroom really is a big boost. It's been used every day since the concrete cure. There's not been a day students, teachers have not been outdoor, even after school. Families coming and using that as a shelter where the kids play on the playground. So we do have a few more improvements to make sure that the entire playground is accessible by all of our teachers, as well as our students. And then we have some other activities that we would like to include, frisbee golf course, and we're gonna work on a pickleball court. So $25,000 is a big chunk of money, and it, you know, it's a local business that's putting money back into the community, which I think is very important.
Thank you. And then we have a lot of good things going on, but Miss Christie with Camden Elementary will tell you about their grant.
Well, we started about this time last year working for the TBA School Uplift Grant. And it is a grant that TBA offers to the community, to schools, to help to make the students more energy aware and to also put something back and be able to add to the learning environment. Ms. Pam put together this video.
Ready for a start?
Yes, start off. She put together this little video. You're never too young to save energy. Saving energy starts with our little ones. We have to teach them. And we started out the school year with a scavenger hunt. They went around the school. They looked for places that are using energy, and they talked about things that are energy. Then we did a jingle contest. Our teachers worked with our students. Turn that up just a little. So every classroom was able to submit a jingle, and they got 30 minutes of steam time for the winners. So that was exciting. We invited TBA to come in and do a program with all of our students about how to be more energy efficient, and they learned about energy monsters. So that was around the time of Halloween. So each class during art worked on making their own energy monster, and then they did energy doors and had a contest with that. And then, of course, we had a Monster Mash parade where they paraded through the halls of CES with their energy monsters. And the students loved that. So then part of the program was that the students voted for what they wanted to use that $10,000 for. So we had an official voting day. We talked to the election commission. They brought in voting booths. We had stickers that said, I voted. We even had some protests in the hall. They were exercising their rights. That TBA also sent energy capes for all of our students. So they wore their capes and voted. And then the votes were in.
And here we start to find out the winner. The choice that got the most votes is
Wall ball is an interactive playground for our students. That it's a mobile one that we're going to get at our school to be able to use when they have indoor recess. Then we had tips on our paw press.
Here is this week's energy saving fact. Did you know that saving water also saves energy? That's right. Energy is used to drink, pump, and heat water before and after it comes out of your faucet.
So then our students started checking. They had a checklist. They were checking the rooms when they were out.
Miss Karen's lights are out and her windows are closed.
So we were very busy learning how to be energy wise, and of course you can see that that reflects on our chart. This is where we started out, and we stayed below our goal line most of the year. Students were turning off the lights. They were learning to really save energy this year, and that's a savings for our school system, and that's for our students. They're taking that home to their families. They're helping to teach them to be more energy wise. So it's a win-win for us. It's a win-win for our community and for the future of Benton County. So we were so excited to be able to work closely with Benton County Electric, Andrew Jones and Scott Owens. They helped us in every way. You know, they were there to answer our questions. We had an energy coach that we met with every month, and she helped us with ideas to engage our students. And you know, with pre-K through 2, it's a lot of teacher leaving because they're so little, but they did a lot of the announcements on our paw press. They did so many things like checking the checklist to make sure that we were unplugging our electronics, that we were turning off the lights. So it was a great opportunity to work together with our local power company, with TVA, to get our students engaged in something exciting and to get not just $10,000. We knew if we completed the program that we would get $10,000 to improve something in our school. But we were one of the 10 schools that were chosen out of 106 to receive $25,000. So we were very proud of that and proud of our students and our staff.
Thank you, Ms. Christie. We always say it, I assure you, there's a lot more good going on than what people want to talk about, and we got to continue to do better to let our community know. But, and there's good things going on at junior high and Briarwood too, I assure you. So we'll let them talk next time. All right, the next thing, we need to schedule a joint budget and building and property committee just to discuss funding for the roof at Briarwood. So I was looking at either Tuesday the 21st or Thursday the 23rd. I'm good. I know Mr. Hargis is not here, but Chairman, you guys,
I will be at TSBA on the 21st.
so 23rd would probably be better.
Probably.
So let's just plan on Thursday the 23rd at, is 5:30 okay? And I'll send a reminder. And just what I would do is look, I'll break it between 5-7. I have talked to the company with, as far as the loan goes, and it does not change the rate if we decide to borrow it all, borrow half, borrow a quarter. It doesn't matter. The rate will stay the same. It just depends on the term. So. Okay, the director's contract, since spring planning was not 15 days from the board meeting, we had to extend that to June. So, so that's the reason that will come up in June. So we have to give the public notice 15 days in advance. So next school board meeting is June the 1st. We're giving public notice today, and we'll make sure we get that agenda out to the public in plenty of time. But according to the Tennessee Code Annotated, you have to announce that, and it has to be first on the agenda. So that will be next month. The fire pump at the Career Technical Center has been quite the challenge. And the fire marshal come last week and told us that they were gonna take legal action, but I think it was more of a, to get the company going, because the pump is being installed as we speak, and they're supposed to be done by Friday. But, you know, we did it back before Christmas, but trying to get contractors going, but they are installing it today, and they said they should be done by Friday. So that is a sigh of relief. This is really good news. We have SROs on every campus now besides Benton County Academy. And I was talking to, I think we're interviewing an officer Thursday morning for possibly hiring one at Benton County Academy. So that would be an SRO on every campus plus Benton County Academy, which would be just tremendous. And I don't think you've heard any complaints about there being an SRO at every school. We appreciate Sheriff Christopher and Chief Smith and Mr. Phelps back there for their continued work to make this happen. If you have not heard, if you remember, the governor had put someone, a Homeland Security person in charge of school safety for every county. Jason Lowry has just been named. He's left the Sheriff's Department, and he's going to be Benton County's Homeland Security agent, which we're disappointed for Benton County Sheriff's Department, but we're pretty excited for our school system, because we're going to be able to work with somebody that knows our district and is familiar with Benton County. So we're excited about working with Jason. School ends May 17th. That's hard to believe, but we're closing it. Seniors' last day will be on Friday, May the 10th. Also, track and field day is Friday, May 10th, is at 9 o'clock, I believe. I know some of you like to come to that. If you're able, and we sure appreciate our businesses in the community and you as a board to sponsor that, to make sure these students have that special day. And I hear so many students say that's their favorite day of the year, and it is a special day. So if you have time Friday morning, we would love for you to come out and support the track and field day. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you, Rick. Vouchers. I know you've heard that it's dead this year. So we're not getting into next year. But on behalf of all public educators in Benton County and across the state, thank you as a board for passing that resolution, and thank you to our county commission that also passed a resolution unanimously opposing vouchers. On a personal side, as TOS president, I was glad that didn't happen one year, but we will be faced with that again next year, but we'll worry about that then. But on behalf of all of us, I just want to thank you for supporting us. Graduation is Friday, May 17th. I know we have a couple new board members. We always meet at the Camden Junior High parking lot about 5:15, and we'll carpool to Big Sandy. If you would like to drive yourself, that is fine. I would just encourage you to park on the north side of the old gym. They'll have cones, and just line up, and then Sheriff Christopher will escort us to Camden. And we should have plenty of time. Big Sandy's graduation is at 6, and then Camden Central High School is at 7:30. If we do have weather, I think Mr. McDowell can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're in 30-minute increments until 9. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then if we wasn't able to have it by 9, then it would become Saturday.
I can't remember if we said 9 or 9:30, but one of those two, if it goes beyond those times, then we would definitely move to the next day.
We're gonna hope that doesn't happen,
Amen.
but just keep that in mind. Summer camp will begin June 3rd. That's 4 days a week through, is it the 27th, Ms. Lord? Is that Thursday? And just thank you to all our administrators, our supervisors. There's a lot of work that goes into what, $270,000 budget, is that right? Right, you know, right here at the end of the school year, we're pretty much going again. Thanks, Mr. White and his staff. And it's not popular. It's not that, I mean, they just want to have their school ready like every other school. But since summer camp, they're kind of the last ones, and they have to share their school for a month, but we do appreciate that, and we appreciate all our employees that are willing to help with that. And then, Ms. Kenny, do you want to say anything about the evaluation before I finish up?
Okay. Everybody has a copy. I know I didn't do it like Joey did, because I can't remember how Joey did it. But I have, and if you don't understand it, just ask me. There are no stupid questions. So, for example, on number 1, keeps all board members informed on issues and operation of the school system. And 5, there were 2 with a 5, 5 with a 4, and 1 with a 3. Does that make sense? And the average was a 4.125. And if you flip all the way over to the very back page, you see that we had 8 total evaluations returned and an average of 4.428. And I apologize, I do not remember what it was last year. Do you, Mr. Florence? I'd have to go back in the big book and look. But y'all also gave me the go-ahead to seek out a new evaluation. So when I go to TSBA on the 21st, we're going to talk about that.
And I do have some directors sending me copies of theirs that's a little different.
Okay. And Mr. Florence will get a copy, or he will get the originals of all of them that have to be made public, or for public, to see if they want to.
Thank you. And then the last thing I have is, if you hadn't been to Big Sandy School, you may not have had an opportunity to meet Miss Kathy, but Miss Kathy Pratt come to us a couple of years ago from Texas. She was a bus driver, custodian, and 6 weeks ago, she was notified that she was sick, extremely sick, and she passed away this morning. So make sure that you keep Miss Kathy and her family in your prayers. She was a real trooper for our school system. She custodian and drove a bus. She's gonna be missed. On top of that, she was just a really, really fine person that would do anything for kids. So make sure you keep Miss Kathy in your prayers. We lost her this morning. Mr. Crothers sent me a text, so please keep her family in your prayers. And that's all I have, Ms. King.
Next on our agenda is visitors before the board. Do we have any? No? Okay. Anything else? Remember, we have a budget and property meeting on the 23rd at 5:30 here in the spring. Graduation is May the 17th. We will leave from the junior high bus lot across the road from the junior high at 5:15. Big Sandy's graduation is at 6, and CHS is at 7:30. Yes.
Madam Chair, I'm not boycotting graduation, but I've got a granddaughter that's in the graduation process too, and the 17th, I will not be at graduation. I've told all the administrators, so I want to tell y'all, I'm not boycotting anything, I just got, I have the obligation.
We get it. Have you ever missed one?
I don't know.
I think you've earned it, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we are gonna recognize Mr. Thompson and Mr. Cooper with a chair and a rose at graduation. So just wanted everybody to know that.
Speaking of Mr. Cooper, Joe, there's a Memorial 5K run Saturday, May 11th. It's not a good run, but. So,
And that's this Saturday?
This Saturday. You walk.
Anything else?
Thank you.
If not, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
If you approve of the motion to adjourn, we can go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.